Okay, guys, welcome to our first edition of our online class of Startup Launch Class, second edition. Special welcome to all of our 10 startups, participating startups, and also a special welcome to our ING coaches and everyone else watching. We have, let me check, Webinar Geek. We have a lot of people watching, so thank you for that. Welcome all. Let's start with some practical items before we go to the further introduction, because as you can see, we are using a Webinar Geek as our tool. Let me show you one slide before we get started. One sec for that. Webinar Geek, we use this tool for these Monday online classes, and it's actually pretty a one-way online course in that way that you will hear a lot from me or from us, and we will show you a lot of slides, but due to the fact that we have a lot of viewers, it's not possible to talk to us. Well, you can talk to us, but we're not able to hear you guys. But on the right side of your screen, you can see a chat window. And during this webinar or online class on Monday, you can type in your questions or remarks at any time during the webinar. And we will write them down here and discuss them during the webinar or at the end of the webinar. So maybe it's time for a trial for that. If one of the people watching can ask a test question in the right side on the chat window, let's check if that works properly. Perfect. It is working. Before I get started, again, welcome all to you watching. My name is Rogier. I'm from Strategiemakers. Let me also introduce two of my colleagues who will be writing down all of the questions here. Guys.
Hi, welcome to Startup Launch Class. I'm Carlien. Hoi, en ik ben Meerte.
Thank you, guys. Well, of course, we will meet all of the startups, all of the coaches, and you will meet all of us upcoming Friday during our first work session. So that will be very nice. But for now, let's get started with this first online class. Actually, today we have 4 items we want to discuss with you guys. And here's a quick look at our agenda for today. So basically, we have 4 items. First of all, let's start with a short introduction on Startups Launch Class. What will we be doing in the upcoming 10 weeks? And well, first and foremost, what will you guys be doing? Secondly, for today in this webinar, we'll be discussing the methodology which will be key in this program. That is Lean Startup. What is actually the Lean Startup methodology? For some of you, it might probably be a bit more familiar than for others. But how we will be using this methodology during this 10-week program. The third item for today we want to discuss is upcoming Friday, like I said, the first work session, what we'll be doing this Friday and what will we ask you to do this week for preparation. And also we want to use today, we're going to close every webinar or online course with questions from your part. Like I said, please use the chat window for typing down all of your questions. So today webinar will take about 45 minutes, like every other Monday. Another practical item, we have a bit of delay due to the fact this is a live stream of 15 seconds. So please bear that in mind if we're not answering your questions fast enough. So let's start with Startup Launch Class. While that's what we're here for today, right? Startup Launch Class basically is a 10 weeks program where you as a startup and you as a coach, the focus is on your business model. So in 10 weeks time, the goal is to accelerate your startup. The key items for that is you will learn to understand how to validate your business model. We'll get back to the key understanding of business model in a second, but you will learn how to validate your business model, how to design your business model, and the end goal, how to accelerate your startups. This edition of Startup Launch Class, we have again found 10 amazing startups who will be a key part of this program, of course. Like I said, we will spend upcoming Friday for elaborate get to know each other, of course, but for starters, here are the 10 startups. So we have startups who are dealing with travel, with bikes, with food, with nail technology, with nanotechnology. So it's an amazing group, and I'm sure we will learn a lot from each other. But Startup Launch Class is also, like you maybe already know, a unique collaboration between Amsterdam Center of Entrepreneurship, ACE, of course, but also of ING. ING is an amazing partner in this 10 weeks program. And with ING, that being said, we also have a unique opportunity in this Startup Launch Class to work together, especially you startups. You will work together with amazing ING coaches. And again, we will get to know each other extensively this Friday, of course. Well, that being said about Startup Launch Class, let's take a quick look at how we will be working the upcoming 10 weeks. We'll go deeper in the upcoming 10 weeks, of course, but let me start with a short introduction what Startup Launch Class actually is and how the weeks work. And after that, we will take you through the methodology of Lean Startup. So let's get started at the 10 weeks of Startup Launch Class. So basically, it's 10 weeks about developing, experimenting, and validating your business model. Like I said, your business model as a company, together with your coach, is the focus of this program. So in 10 weeks time, every week we will work on your business model and we go to the finish line. And we have 2 fixed moments during Startup Launch Class. First of all, we have Mondays, of course. Mondays like this webinar we have right here from 12 up to 12:45, maybe 1 o'clock. We use that for webinar classes, which will be in English. And during these webinar classes, we will discuss a theory like Lean Startup, like the key building blocks in your business model, more in depth. So we will be talking about, for example, you'll see some examples on the right side, customer segments, or how to find product market fit, how to pitch your story, how to look at startup finance, how to run certain experiments during the 10 weeks, and lots more to discuss about. The second contact moment, fixed contact moment we will have is on Fridays, and Fridays are our work sessions, working title, which will be in Dutch or English. It really depends on what suits your best in contact with your coach and with us, of course. They will be on Friday from 9 to 12. And on these Fridays, we will be working with all of the startups, all of the coaches, and us, of course. It has actually 2 goals. First, of course, to look back at the previous week you've had with your startup and with your coach. If you had talked to customers or ran certain experiments, how did they go? So a quick look back and feedback. But most importantly, it's also looking forward an actual physical work session. And by that, I mean we will together define an experiment for the upcoming week with you as a team and together with the coaches and focus on this week's learning. For this Friday, we will also have guest speakers during the 10 weeks. We have Mimoun, which is an amazing pitch trainer. So we will have the opportunity to actually work on your pitch and much more to come. Because at the end goal is Tuesday, 20th of December, which is our closing pitch event. And the pitch event will be at the ING headquarters. And we will ask all of the startups, but also the coaches, of course, to have a short pitch, 2 or 3 minutes, about your company, about your learnings. And you have the amazing opportunity to pitch in front of potential investors, partners, customers, who else knows who will be there. And well, most importantly, it's fun and so valuable for you as a startup to pitch in front of an audience that we've seen in the previous edition of Startup Launch Class. This webinar, by the way, will be recorded. These online webinars, we will distribute it through YouTube. The classes on Friday, for now, will not be recorded because it's an actual work session, but we will distribute a case study, so key learnings from these working sessions. Okay, guys, moving on. So these are the fixed contact moments during the 10 weeks program, but what is it exactly that we will be doing? Let's say, for instance, if we look at the Friday. So we have 1 slide for that. So on Fridays, like I said, it's an active hands-on working session. So it's about putting theory to practice, right? Like I said, on Mondays, we're going to discuss some theory on lean startup, on the key building blocks week by week. But on Friday, it's actually putting these theories to practice. So on Fridays, like I said, one goal is to define your experiment, or maybe actually already start running it for the upcoming week. And the Friday next to that, the following Friday, we will again discuss and look back at the experiment you've ran. Of course, it is allowed to meet with your coach, and we expect you meet anyway with your startup team day by day. But of course, it's also allowed to meet with your coach during the week. But I please would like to ask to do that in collaboration with your coach, of course. So that being said, what is actually the basic process and thoughts we have in mind with these context moments? Well, let's take a look at that. So like I said, it's about focusing on specific experiments. And that actually is the key, one of the key elements of this 10-week program, is that because you want to learn a lot. As a early stage company, you still have a lot to discover. Probably some of you more than others, and that's fine. But the key is to focus on specific experiments so that you can actually learn items and create acceleration and traction. So we have a graphical display this slide. So basically, it's about this 4-step program, which is key in this 10 weeks program. So you start with certain hypotheses in your business model, right? Could be on your customer segments, on the age of your customer segment. So let's say I'm focusing on men age 30 or 45, or this is my specific value proposition. Anyways, in the starters, your business model is probably filled with assumption. So you will pick one of the key critical assumptions for now. You will design and run a specific experiment about this hypothesis, and you will get some hopefully concrete results. And we will discuss that during the week with your coach, or on Friday with us. Certain impact, so a certain concrete learning, and from that learning, it has an impact on your business model, and you will be able to iterate or pivot when necessary. So if you've learned some concrete result on your experiment, so here's what we found, and here's what we're going to do next. So what we'll ask you guys to do is to actually make those learnings and assumptions really visually for not only for us, but for you as a founder, for you as a team, and together with your coach. Let's have a look at what we mean by that. So this Friday, we will actually work with the business model canvas. And as I understand, a lot of you are already familiar with the business model canvas, but if not, no worries. Of course, this program and these 10 weeks will go deeper into all of the building blocks of a business model canvas deeper. To put it more graphically, let's say this is your business model right now, right? So it's maybe on some parts a bit more validated than others, right? Let's say you've already found some validation on your customer segments, but overall it's still guesses and assumptions, and that's fine. But during the week and during the 10 weeks, the actual goal is to develop and, like I said, validate your business model. So it requires talking to customers, talking to stakeholders, to potential customers, and learning each and every week, week by week. So during the 10 weeks, you will actually see a validation and a deeper understanding of your business model as displayed here. So maybe in the end of the 10 weeks, you can say, you know what, we thought our cost structure was this. And after running through 2 or 3 experiments, you know what, we're actually wrong about that. We're actually wrong about a part of our value proposition. And that's fine, as long as you learn from it and adjust your business model from it. So what is the key item you need to do for that is, of course, getting out of the building, talking to potential customers or customers you already have, potential partners, potential stakeholders, etc. So as you can see in this slide on the bottom, below the business model canvas, you see the yellow sticky notes. We will challenge you to actually ask from you to get out of the building and talk to us as much as customers each and every week from Friday to Friday. So also to put it more visually or graphically, so you can actually use Post-its to illustrate, you know, in week 1, we talked to 25 customers and on this certain hypothesis, and we ran this experiment, and this was what the result was. And the same for week 2, week 3, etc. So that's actually quite challenging, and it will ask a lot of discipline and a lot of effort from you as a startup, and that's where we come in, and your coach come in, of course, to really challenge you. So like I said, the key challenges, but we actually really want to challenge you to do and ask you to do it, is to talk to more than 10 customers per week. And when I say customers, it could be potential customers, could be potential partners, could be actual customers you already have, because that's actually the only way to learn and accelerate your business model. That being said, we will be using another canvas for it. We will send you the digital versions after this class, but it's called the Lean Agile Workbook. You can see it on this slide. It will help you to actually keep track of your progress and learnings by really focusing on the experiment you want to run, let's say, this Wednesday. And what was the specific hypothesis? What is the specific experiment? How many customers have you talked to? What is the result? And again, the second experiment may be the Friday. How is it different? What have you learned from it, etc. So it really helps you in the agile process of keeping track and learning from it. Because this is what's all about, guys. We want you to get out of the building. Maybe not as extreme as on this picture, but we will actually challenge you, stimulate you, and help you, of course, to talk to as much as customers as possible. This is one of the guest speakers of our previous edition of Startup Launch Class. He is the CEO of Desbookers, a startup here in Amsterdam. And one of the key items he said in his interview or in his guest lecture was that they've run a country experiment. They're figuring out if they want to expand to Germany or England. And they run an experiment, actually multiple experiments, in just 4 days. So what he told Startup Launch Class is the key is to learn more and faster every day. So we really want to help you guys achieve the same during this 10 weeks program. Okay, moving on to the second topic of today for this webinar. Like I said, it's more about the methodology Lean Startup. Probably for some of you, especially some of you who have read the Blue Book of Eric Ries, of course, the Lean Startup methodology is more familiar than for others. And again, that is just fine. For this webinar, we will just wanted to take you through the basic understandings of Lean Startup and how we can apply it during this 10 weeks program. So to provide a bit more background on it, more and more companies, as we see it, are using Agile in combination with Lean Startup methodologies, toolings, etc., for innovation or for actually creating and discovering new business models. We have some examples on this slide. So it's not only relatively new companies or startups, but also existing companies like ING, like GE, like Google, are using these methodologies to help improving their company, to go faster, to accelerate their business model, or to discover a new business model. One of the founding fathers of the Lean Startup customer development movement is this guy, Steve Blank, probably familiar for most of you guys, but we have a short video from him. So that was Steve Blank talking about customer development, which is basically one of the key 3 building blocks of Lean Startup, but we'll get back to that in a second. Because Lean Startup actually is about the following. Let us take you through some key items. The iterative approach, and I think Steve Blank just mentioned it shortly in this video. So it's about quickly and iteratively planning, building, and trying stuff, getting in front of customers to get feedback as much as possible. That's one. But the secondly is also to do that as often as possible and as fast as possible. On the right side of the slide, you see the feedback loop: Lean Startup, build, measure, learn. We actually going to use it a bit differently, but we also get back to that in a second. But we will be using this iterative approach. You will be using this iterative approach rather than this more linear or waterfall approach that still is quite the default in business, but also in business studies, where you analyze and plan and orient for a long time, and then you build it, and then you get it in front of customers. And only maybe here it says 18 months, but it could take much longer. You get it in front of customers, and then you get your first feedback that maybe not everyone or almost no one is actually waiting for it. Instead of, I think that, or probably, according to me, or nobody, everyone, I believe that it's actually about learning from actual customers. And Lean Startup has basically the following 3 phases, which you all also will go through in this 10 weeks program. So the first phase is what we call customer development. So have we found a certain customer segment or a sub-segment with specific needs? Have we validated the problem and their basic needs of this customer segment? After that phase, you will move on to a more solution development phase in your business, which is, okay, if we have validated these customer segments and we're going to focus on these customer segments, and we have validated their issues and their problems and their needs, can we figure out a unique solution or unique value proposition to offer to these clients? That's what we call solution development. And again, already these 2 phases is an iterative process where you go back and forth from customer needs to your value proposition. The third phase in Lean Startup is what we call business design phase or business development phase, where you zoom out to your entire business model, not only your value proposition, not only customer segments you're focusing on, but your entire business model on how to deliver the value to your customer or customer segments, and how actually to create this value proposition. For those of you who have read the blue book of Lean Startup, this is the author, of course, Eric Ries, and what he says: the only way to win is to learn faster than anyone else. And that, guys, is the key goal of this program: to in 10 weeks to learn faster than in any other opportunity. What also is an important understanding from Lean Startup is that you will need to learn from products that actually work, or for some of you probably familiar, the concept of MVP, minimal viable product. So you want to learn from products that work. An example is on the bottom of this slide. So you'll go from a step to a bicycle to a car and improving your MVP, but your MVP actually is working from the start. So it's a minimal viable product. Let's look at a concrete example of that. This is one of my favorite apps at the moment, Uber. You can order a cab with that. You can already order your food with that. So maybe this year you can order a drone with that. I don't know. But this is not how they started with their MVP, right? So their basic understanding or their key assumption in the beginning was, of course, not if they could order a cab or if they could produce, like, say, a pool of cab drivers, but if they were able to make people use a certain app for ordering transport in general. So this is an example. This is an actual picture of the MVP of Uber, of a music festival called South by Southwest, which they used years ago. So what you see here is like a tuk-tuk they used in combination with their basic version of the app, just to see if customers were willing to use their app and how the customer's first response was in using this app. And from this, of course, they upgraded it to CAPS in certain classes. So Lean Startup, which is the key item, key methodology in this 10-week program, is basically about the 3 building blocks you see on this slide. So it's about your business model. Like I said, maybe for some of you, the business model canvas is more familiar than others. That's fine. We won't be going discussing it into much elaborate detail today. That's, of course, what the goal is also for the upcoming 10 weeks. But your business model is the focus point in this program. You will use it for defining hypotheses, for prioritizing hypotheses, for designing experiments, actually end goal, validating and accelerating your business model. Second key item in Lean Startup in this program is, like Steve Blank said in his video, is customer development. So actually getting out of the building, asking feedback from customers, potential customers, and have what we call validated learning experience. The third item, also very important in Lean Startup, is the Agile way of working. And your dedicated coach for ING is an expert in this field. With the Agile way of working, you are able to focus on certain items for that specific day or specific week. So you will be able to have some fast iterations and adapt, learn, and progress from it. So moving on, so basically we have some keywords that are really, really important in this 10 weeks program. So like I said, it's about discovering, it's about validating, it's about running concrete experiments, and we will use the upcoming 10 weeks, both of these online seminars as the working sessions, to define experiments and to take you through the methodology of certain types of experiments, and in the end, to create traction for your startup. Like I said, it's about experiential and validated learning. So what does it mean? It's learning by doing. It's actually hands-on. It's outside the classroom. You will be talking to real customers, test with them, validating with them. So that's what experiential and validated learning is all about. But also what is really fun is, and what is quite unique about this program, we will use the concept of the flipped classroom. And that means it will be you, startups, and as a team, also you as a coach, presenting us to the other startups, other coaches, your learnings, your experiments. And we will be peer discussing each other learning. And we'll be using peer feedback to learn from each other. So again, like I said, the business model is the focus point in this program, and taking all of the guesses, all of the assumption, clarifying, making them explicit, and actually running experiments for them to accelerate your business model. In the end, it's about finding what we call problem market fit, and besides just a problem market fit, have an actual validated business model which supports the problem market fit. Like I said on the previous slide, you probably know this feedback loop of Lean Startup: build, measure, learn. Right? For those of you who are not familiar with it, this is one of the key concepts in the book of Eric Ries's Lean Startup, which is basically just build as fast as possible, measure feedback, and learn from it, adapt from it, build again, etc. Well, we say, well, actually, you need to turn the loop the other way, because you're not just building something and just testing something. You want to know beforehand what is it specifically you want to learn. So what is your key assumption for this day, for this week? And define an experiment from that, and then run the experiments and have certain specific metrics that will invalidate or validate this hypothesis. So that's really key to how we will be working this upcoming 10 weeks. Again, this is Steve Blank, like he said. In a startup, no business plan suffice, first contact with customers. So I guess this is also one of the key differences if you compare Startup Launch class with other classes, or with classes that are currently around in your university, which is about writing your business plan, and it's fine for some details or some specifics. This is a more hands-on program where you actually get in touch with customers and potential stakeholders, investors, etc., to actually develop your business model. Okay, guys, moving on to the third point on this agenda. Let's talk about this Friday, because this Friday is our first work session, of course. We're going to use it elaborately to getting to know each other, the startups, the coaches, us, of course. But what is also the goal for this Friday? Let me take you through it. So this Friday, Like I said, the start will be at 9 o'clock, like every Friday from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. It will be in the Startup Factory, which is a room in the Wieboudhuis on Wieboudstraat number 3 here in Amsterdam. So please be there on time. The goal for this Friday, like I said, it's of course getting to know each other, but also to establish, let's say, the baseline, the starting point for each company. So we actually have one assignment specifically for the startups to do for this Friday. Like I said, this Friday we'll be using it for creating your business model. We will have like 10 different business model canvases there. But for now, use these days up to Friday with your team to actually draft your business model. And we can use this Friday to put it on your business model canvas for each and every team. So it will be able for us as an entire startup launch class to establish your starting point. Because this Friday we will be using it for discussion with your coach, so between the coach and the startup, of course, and define key assumptions and goals for this specific program. You can use that. You can email the slides to us if you want to use slides for it before this Thursday, 12 a.m. Question is, you know what, we already have like a filled in business model canvas. Take that with you this Friday, and then we can make it again, copy it again for in a physically version. Okay, guys, so that's almost it for today, but let's have spend some time for questions. And if there are any key questions for now, the key questions for now were if the webinar is being recorded. So yes, the Monday webinars like this one will be recorded. We will send you the link afterwards for the YouTube channel. For Fridays, for now, not has several reasons, of course, because it's an actual working session. It's more hands-on, but we will distribute case studies and key learnings from each experiment during the week. So in the meantime, if you have any other questions, or if you want to get in touch with us, these are the contact details of me and my colleague Colleen. So please email us or call us if there's anything you want to know for this Friday or for anything else. For now, that's it. Thank you all for watching. I'm just of viewers. We have an amazing amount of viewers for today, so thank you very much for that. All these startups and all the coaches can't wait to see you this Friday for getting to know each other. And that's it. Thank you very much, and see you next time.